Hi guys, today we're going to be looking at factorising harder quadratics, which is a grade 7 topic. Please remember to subscribe to my channel, please hit the like button and hit the bell notification so that you'll be notified whenever I release a new video. Factorising harder quadratics is a grade 7 topic. You can hit other topics under this one as well. So for example, finding the product of numbers, finding the sum of numbers, finding the highest common factor, adding and subtracting negative numbers, and also multiply negative numbers. But don't stop the video, I'm going to talk you through each step. So if you feel like you're not really understanding any of this, remember to pause the video at certain points that I talk about so that you can listen through and have a go at the questions yourself, and then press play to make sure that you are getting the same answers as me. So you've totally got this and I believe in you, so let's get to it. So we're looking at factorising harder quadratics, which is a grade 7 question. Okay, so the first question we're going to look at is 2x squared plus 5x plus 2. So 2 multiplied by 2 is a product, which is 4, and then a 5 is the sum. So generate the product first. So 1 times 4 is 4, 2 times 2 is 4, and then choose any pair that will add to get 5. So 1 add 4 is 5, so I definitely want the 1 and 4. Check for 2 and 2. 2 plus 2 is not 5, so I definitely don't want this one. So I want 1 and 4. So you create a grid. So this position is always the x squared position, so 2x squared will go in there, and then this position is always the number that doesn't have an x or an x squared on it, so plus 2 would go in there, plus 2, and because we're using 1 and 4, so I'm going to have 1x and 4x to get me to the 5x. So now I've got my numbers in the grid, I'm going to find the highest common factor, so I can go row by row and column by column. So the highest common factor of 2x and 1x is x. If I've got x here, then I must have 2x there. So the highest common factor of 2x squared and 4x is 2x. The highest common factor of 1x and 2 is 1, and the highest common factor of 4x and 2 is 2. So just check again that my numbers, when I multiply 2x and x, I'm going to get 2x squared. X times 1 is 1x, 2x times 2 is 4x, and 1 times 2 is 2. So these are the numbers on top of the grid would be the numbers in my bracket. So 2x plus 1 in the first bracket, and x plus 2 in the second bracket. And that is my solution for this question. Second question, I've got 2x squared plus 11x plus 12. So 2 and 12 are my product. So 2 times 12 is 24. So my product is 24. And my sum is 11. So I'm going to generate pairs of numbers that I multiply to get 24. So 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. So these numbers, when I multiply them, will get me to 24. And then I need to find which pair in each of the lines will get me to 11. So 1 and 24, nope. 2 and 12, not that one. 3 and 8, yes. That will get me to 11. Check for 4 and 6, that's 10. So definitely not that one. So 3 and 8 are the pairs of numbers that I want. That will get me to 11x. So 2x squared, so my x squared must go in here, and then the number that doesn't have an x or an x squared will go in here. So always these two positions are taken up by the x squared in there, and then the number that hasn't got an x or x squared will go in there. And then my pair of numbers will go in this box, so 3 and 8, but this must be 3x and 8x because I want to get to 11x. So now I'm going to find the highest common factor of 2x squared and 8x, which is 2x, highest common factor of 3x and 12, which is 3, and then go across the row, highest common factor of 2x squared and 3x is x, highest common factor of 8x and 12 is 4, and then check that that works. 2x times x is 2x squared, 3 times x is 3x, 2x times 4 is 8x, 3 times 4 is 12. So these numbers at the top of the box and on the side will be my bracket. So 2x plus 3, my first bracket, and x plus 4, my second bracket. Okay, next question. 3x squared plus 17x plus 10 equals 0. So this question is a solve. So the only difference between this question and the last two that we've done is that we're going to go one more step, which I'm going to show you. However, you can try and factorize this. So based on what we've done previously, so 3 and 10, 3 times 10 is 30. So my product is 30. And 17 is my sum. So at this point you can pause the video and have a go, see if you can generate the pairs of numbers that's going to go in the box. So the product of 30, so 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, 5 and 6, and then we're checking which of these will give me a sum of 17. So 2 and 15 will give me a sum of 17. Okay, so again, you can pause the video and see if you can put your numbers in the box correctly. So 3x squared should go in here, 10 would go in there, and then we chose 2 and 15, so 2x would go in here and 15x would go in here. So again, you can pause the video and have a go, see if you can find the highest common factor of the numbers. So go column by column and row by row. So the highest common factor of 3x squared and 15x is 3x. The highest common factor of 2x and 10 is 2. And then going across, the highest common factor of 3x squared and 2x is x. The highest common factor of 15x and 10 is 5. So these are all positive numbers so far that we've been doing. So it's nice and easy. It can get a little bit more tricky when the numbers go into negative numbers, but I'll show you how to do that later on. Okay, so in my bracket, first one will be 3x plus 2, and then the second one will be x plus 5. So we factorized at this point. So now to solve each, so we're going to make this equal to 0 as per the question, and then for this to be 0, x must be minus 2 over 3. For this to be 0, x must be minus 5. So this is the final step to solve. Okay, so this one is easier to find the value for x. This one is a bit trickier because it's going into fractions and decimals, but it's easier to leave it as a fraction. So for this to be 0, x is minus 2/3, and for this to be 0, x must be minus 5. Okay, so for this question, we've got 2x squared minus x minus 1. So the product is 2 times minus 1, which is minus 2. And the sum is minus x, which is minus 1x. So the sum is a minus 1. So I need to generate two numbers that multiply to get minus 2. And the same two numbers, when I add them together, will get me to minus 1. So 1 take away 2 will get me to minus 1. So this is the one that I want. So you draw the grid. Two x squared will go in the first box. Minus 1 will go in this position here. And then we want 1 and minus 2. So 1x and minus 2x. You can also write just x in here, which is the same as it's the same thing as 1x. Okay, so find the highest common factor of 2x squared and minus 2x. So And then the highest common factor of 1x and 1 is 1. So the highest common factor of 2x squared and 1x is x. The highest common factor of minus 2x and minus 1 is minus 1. And then check that this makes sense. So 2x times x is 2x squared, x times 1 is 1x, 2x times minus 1 is minus 2x, and 1 times minus 1 is minus 1. So in the bracket, you've got 2x plus 1 and x take away 1. Okay, for this question, we've got 3x squared minus 11x plus 6. So you can pause the video at any point and have a go yourself, and then carry on playing the video to check if you got it right. So 3 times 6 is 18, so the product is 18. Minus 11 is the sum. So to get 18, I've got 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6. So when you multiply these numbers, you'll get 18. And then, just checking I haven't missed any. Yep. And then I need to check which of these numbers will get me to 11. So I want minus 11, but I can check for positive values first and then tweak it for what I need. Okay, so 1 and 18, it's not going to get me to 11. 2 and 9, 3 and 6. So I'm going to change, I'm going to choose 2 and 9. Okay, so to get to minus 11 with 2 and 9, they must both be negative. So minus 2 minus 9 is minus 11. And then if I multiply minus 2 minus 9 together, I'm going to get a positive value of 18. So although I chose 2 and 9, they're not going to be positive. They have to be negative to get me to minus 11. And they also have to be negative. When I multiply them, it will give me a positive value of 18. So minus 2 and minus 9 are the numbers that I've chosen. So in this box, I've got 3x squared here and 6 here, and then minus 2x and then minus 9x. Then I'm going to find the highest common factor. So 3x and x, and then minus 2 and minus 3. Okay, so 3x times x is 3x. 3x times minus 3 is minus 9x. When I had minus 2 there, for this to be 6, I must have minus 3 there. Can't be anything else but minus 3. And then just check that every single cell, that the numbers across them, when you multiply them, does get you to the number that you want. So x times minus 2 is minus 2x. Minus 3 times minus 2 is 6. And then in my bracket, I've got 3x minus 2 and x minus 3. X minus 3. Okay, so to solve, so remember, we've been factorizing, we've solved once before. So to solve, you have to factorize, and then at the very end, find the value for x, for each bracket to be 0. So the product is 4 times minus 5, which is minus 20, and the sum is minus 19. So we're going to check for numbers that you multiply to get 20, 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5, and then so we're choosing 1 and 20 to get to minus 19. If I do 1 take away 20, that will get me to minus 19. So although the numbers that I chose here were both positive, one of them has to be negative for me to get a product of minus 20. So 1 times minus 20 is minus 20. Okay, if I chose just 1 and 20, that's not going to get me to a product of 20. And also, if I add these two, it will actually get me 21. However, if I do 1 take away 20 is minus 19. So the negative values, they are a little bit trickier, but you need to be really confident with your adding and taking away negative numbers and multiplying negative numbers as well. So in this box, you've got 4x squared minus 5, and then 1x, or just x, minus 20x. So the highest common factor of 4x squared and minus 20x is 4x. So x must be here. This must be 1. The highest common factor of 1x and minus 5 is 1. And then the highest common factor of minus 20x and minus 5 is minus 5. So just check this makes sense. 4x times minus 5 is minus 20x. 4x times x is 4x squared. 1 times x is 1x. And 1 times minus 5 is minus 5. So in my in the bracket, I've got 4x plus 1 and x take away 5. So we're checking for these two need to equal 0. Sorry, I'm going to write that on a straight line. So equals 0 as per our question here. So for this to be 0, x must be 5. And for this to be 0, x must be minus 1 over 4. So 4 times a quarter, add 1 is, 4 times minus a quarter, add 1 is 0. And 5 take away 5 is 0.